What's up, everyone? It's Scotty with Money Investing, and quite an amazing day for the markets. More specifically, the Nasdaq, S&P 500, and the Dow Jones were very flat. We're getting closer and closer to the deadline of the debt ceiling, and of course, the conversations are going to start to get more and more amplified, more and more heated as we progress here over the next couple weeks. And of course, we did have one of our trade ideas, Twilio, up a little bit over 12% on the day. So I hope you guys are doing well. Lots to unpack in this video. As always, make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're just joining us for the first time. The link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining us. There's only 4 more spots left with that 16% annual discount available for just another week. So link's going to be down below if you want to join and of course be a part of our money investing community. So this right here is, first of all, was the trade idea. A Twilio up over 12.6%. We had an initial target of close to $56 per share, so right around there. Getting a huge breakout. I did a video on this as soon as the stock started selling off on earnings, kind of showing you guys why this was such an oversold reaction, because it was trading very close to its net liquidation value. And of course, long and behold, volume came back in, liquidity came back in, and we're trading back up to that level. So again, on pretty much May 10th is when I started buying the stock. $47, $48 was around those prices, and we ended up making very nice profits. Twilio up 8%. I obviously sold a little too early, clocked in a little bit over $450, close to $500 profit, and we had other members who also profited well. So shout out to David for making a nice 13% gain. Again, link's going to be down below if you want to join, get access to all these alerts and trade ideas. There's only 4 spots left for the investor early bird, and there is a 16% discount for that as well. All right, so S&P 500 closes a little changed on Monday as pivotal debt ceiling meeting looms, and that's really what's going to come down to it. And you also see the yields were on the rise. By the way, still can't believe I missed out another 4% on Twilio. But if you take a look at the 10-year yields, look at this. They are on the rise. They were up another, what was it? So on the day, they were up another 1%, and we're now trading past 3.7% with the US 20-year yield also trading past 4%. So I've already done videos on this. I did a video on the trade idea that we have another trade idea going on. So again, we're going to have another trade alerts sent out for that eventually when I do take up positions. So again, best time to join would be now if you are interested. But NASDAQ here up 0.5%, S&P pretty much flat, and the Dow Jones here down over 42 basis points. So again, this is a very concentrated, very tech related rally, because a lot of tech stocks obviously were pushing higher. So if you come down the watch list, you'll notice Tesla up almost 5%, Google up 2%, AMD up 2%, and Meta up 1% as well. You guys know that Meta and Tesla are my 2 biggest positions, followed by Google, Amazon, and then of course PayPal. PayPal on the day was, I think, also pushing higher a little bit. So of course was up over 3.4%, so had a huge outperformance on the day relative to the market. So Biden McCarthy cautiously optimistic about debt ceiling deal as Treasury reaffirms a deadline. So President Joe Biden said, and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy need a deal to raise the debt ceiling that we can sell to both sides of a closely divided, hyper-partisan Congress. And Biden says, and I quote, "We still have some disagreements, but I think we may be able to get where we have to go." McCarthy shared Biden's cautious optimism, says, and I quote, "I think at the end of the day, we can find common ground, make our economy stronger, and take care of this debt, but more importantly, get this government moving again to curb inflation, make us less dependent upon China, and make our appropriations system work." So either way, that's where we are. This is all political theater in my opinion. Eventually we know what's going to happen, and that's really what we're kind of expecting from the trade idea as well on TMF and TLT. So this was the state of the market. Tesla, very strong day. Google, Meta pushing higher. AMD, we had Microsoft, we had Pfizer, Wells Fargo, PayPal. So again, you're kind of seeing the small pockets of the market really pushing higher. Everything else is either flat or down. So consumer defensive, right? Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Walmart, Costco, Then we have restaurants, McDonald's, Starbucks, Yum Brands, Nike, Procter & Gamble, some of the more staple stocks. Then we had Exxon, Chevron, Eli Lilly, Johnson Johnson, some healthcare companies. Apple was flat. Apple actually got a downgrade today. And we have Visa, JP Morgan, MasterCard. They were all pulling back as well. So it's kind of like a very, very mixed sort of day for the S&P. Nvidia was slightly down. Micron was definitely selling off quite a bit. And then just a handful of pockets in the market pushing higher. So again, very much of a narrow leadership, not really seeing a broad-based rally at the moment. And this right here was the entire market. I just want to make sure that I am recording here with the audio and the video. Perfect. So yeah, that's the state of the market, and we did have quite a few names, quite a few sectors push higher here. Comm services leading the way, and comm services has been the best performing sector in the last 1 week and in the last 1 month, and probably, if I'm not mistaken, on a year-to-date basis as well, because on the back of Meta and Google, this has been one of the best performing sectors. And then next going to be, of course, a closed technology, because Nvidia, AMD, like these companies have also done really well on a year-to-date basis. But if you take a look at the last 1 week or the last 1 month, this is still not a broad-based move. It's only just a handful of sectors, not to mention just a handful of companies within those sectors that are pushing higher. And utilities is struggling, energy is struggling, consumer defensive, basic materials, real estate, healthcare, energy, you name it, they're all kind of struggling at the moment, not only on the week, on month, but also on a year-to-date basis. So orange juice for the win, up over 3.87%. Shout out to Kevin. So definitely doing really well today. Gasoline pushing higher, sugar, ethanol, lumber prices all in the green. And we got Bitcoin here just a little bit under 27,000. Ether back over 1,800 at the moment. So going back over to the markets, my close attention is going to be on the yields right now. Watching really the 10 and the 20-year yield. You'll notice that they all pushed higher on the back of this debate with the debt ceiling. So if this continues, we know where to look, right? We know where to actually go to take advantage of this volatility. And eventually, when we do expect yields to drop again, there is going to be momentum. There is going to be potential on TLT and TML. So that's really where the focus is going to be moving forward as a potential trade idea. But volatility on the day was up a little bit over 2.26%. Still a bit subdued, right? So just trading back above 17 levels. And we're watching the volatility closely as well, because remember, when volatility is low, it's time to look out below, or it's time to go. But volatility is high, it is time to buy it. Right now, it is really, really low, and we're coming down to some very multi-year low levels. When it comes to crude oil, really just trading sideways and consolidating. 73.74 is going to be that resistance for crude oil. We're not able to successfully break past that level, but instead we're just trading sideways and consolidating at that level. And then finally talking about Bitcoin and Ether. Bitcoin here very, very flat, not really moving all that much, just trading back under 27,000, and really just there's not a lot of activity at the moment. And then Ether just trading past 1,800 again. So much consolidation, so much indecision for Ethereum as well. So it's just trading sideways at the moment. Now talking about the market, so QQQs getting a very, very nice move to the upside. We obviously saw a very big breakout on Thursday, so it pushed up over 1.86%. Friday was a little bit flat, slightly down, and then today we're up another 34 basis points. So it's definitely getting up to its higher high. So this right here is going to be that next resistance to watch for QQQs right over there. That's the higher high that we're going to be watching, and every time we kind of get up to that level, we have seen a bit of a pullback, and that's inside the rising wedge pattern as well. We're obviously breaking past this resistance from back in August, so the next level really is going to be around here. That's going to be somewhere around close to $348, $349 per share for NASDAQ 100. That's for QQQs specifically, because every single ETF index has got a different weighting. But for QQQ specifically, that's going to be that confluence as the resistance that I'm watching, and we might set up a nice trade on SQQQs moving forward because of the overbought conditions, because of the narrow leadership, because of the fact that it's moved up so much, and the fact that it's going to be approaching a resistance. There's a lot of reasons to be short on the NASDAQ at those levels. Not right now. Right now, the momentum is way too strong on the QQQs, even so right now. So that's going to be a level to watch on the NASDAQ, and S&P 500 obviously starting to break to the upside from this previous resistance. We've got a resistance all the way up to 4,300. That's the next target now. And obviously we are just kind of flirting with 4,200 right now. A couple times we've traded back above 4,200, but then closed below 4,200 as well. So S&P very, very flat. Again, this has been the trend for so far in 2023. where there's not a lot of movement, right? Not a lot of activity, not a lot of volume, not a lot of liquidity, and the market is trading sideways. There's been a lot of consolidation, and we have seen nothing but nothing, right? So resistance is going to be at 4,300. That's the next target. Support level close to 4,150, 4,185, in and around those levels. And 4,200 obviously is a big call wall for S&P 500. So going back over to the markets over here, just want to quickly address the bear camp and S&P again, kind of hovering in and around those levels. 4,200 is still that resistance to watch, and we're kind of flirting at that level, finding it a little bit more difficult to kind of see that continuation, that momentum, because it's not broad-based, right? If this was like a broad-based rally, you would have seen the market absolutely rip 1 to 2%. But the fact that tech is the only sector, and more specifically just a handful of companies leading the way, if they start to kind of lose steam, so for example, Apple didn't do well today, Nvidia didn't do well today, right? If those companies actually ended up doing well, along with what Meta, Tesla, Google, and Microsoft did, then of course you would have seen the markets absolutely go higher, especially the S&P would have been up, NASDAQ would have been up more. But for the fact that those companies didn't do well, Amazon I think was also flat on the day, you're seeing a little bit slight risk consolidation because other sectors are not really participating in what's going on in the market. Same thing with the NASDAQ here, pushed higher on the back of mostly tech and pushing up 0.5%. So next resistance at 13,000, and that's the next target, that's the next level that we're watching on the NASDAQ here. And support level obviously is going to stay put at 12,300. RSI definitely a little bit more concerning now at over 69, almost at 70 levels. So something that we need to pay attention to as well. Now talking first about Apple, and Apple here starting to see a bit of a pullback, and on Friday was up on the day, but red candle suggesting a little bit of a pullback from that resistance at 177. No doubt in my mind that this is literally the worst time to be going long on Apple because the risk reward is just so poor, and you got a negative divergence with the price just absolutely ripping 30-40% since October, or might have been even January of this year, and then now we're starting to really up that resistance, tagged at that level at 177. If you do start pulling right back down, my opinion, next support is going to be 157, 158. That's the level to watch for Apple. Amazon on the day was slightly down about 1%. So again, no surprises there. We did see a bit of a breakout here. So what we're seeing really is a bit of a retest on Amazon. So this was the breakout point. We have gone rejected here in the past. So going back as far as February 2nd. So we got a nice breakout. We're coming back down to that support, and the next resistance and target's going to be closer to 129 to $130. So this right here is going to be that level to watch for Amazon, and support level is going to stay put at close to $103, $104 per share. Talking a little bit about Tesla now, and Tesla here, very, very, very strong move, close to about $188, and I think it's time for us to sell some new covered calls. I already have a couple of them sitting, all the way up to $200, and if Tesla continues to move up here, the premiums are going to be even better, and I will be looking at selling some more covered calls in the future for Tesla. So that's going to be the plan, and we'll be looking at kind of trenching them out to like 225, 250, 275, 300, like that way, and then we'll have some more flexibility. I'll have some more room to work with and kind of rolling out my covered calls and things like that. So that's going to be on the agenda next for Tesla. If it continues to see that momentum, covered calls are going to pay some very juicy premiums. I'm kind of excited for that. Next up, we're going to talk about Nvidia. And Nvidia on the day was flat, slightly down 28 basis points after hours pushing higher. So on the day, net, it's only up like 1 basis point right now. So resistance and target's going to be at 347. So that's what we're really watching at the moment for Nvidia. So at close to $347, $350 per share. And support level is going to be staying put inside this green rectangle, roughly at around $287 to as much as $290. Of course, we know what the valuation is, super high, super expensive, so I don't have to go over that over and over again. Next up, Advanced Micro Devices, a very strong day, up another 2%, getting past $108, and now approaching that resistance at 109. So this right here is going to be that level to watch for Advanced Micro Devices, and that is going to be in line with this resistance from back in May of last year. So we are very much coming up to that level of resistance for Advanced Micro Devices. Talking a little bit about PayPal. PayPal here getting a very nice, so this is a first bullish engulfing candle. So this goes to show that the selling pressure may have exhausted a little bit. We're back above, I believe, the strike that I sold my put for. I think it has to go a little bit above $1 more. $64 I think might have been the strike for the cash secured put. Resistance is going to be at $66. So this right here is going to be that level to watch for PayPal moving forward. And of course, we got that support at roughly around $60 per share. So very nice move to the upside on the day. RSI oversold, MACD oversold, so valuation is really cheap. So this is one of the few companies right now in the markets that I do think has potential and is trading at a reasonable to low valuation. Everything else, it seems a bit already too far-fetched at the moment. Talking about Square here, and Square on the day also getting a nice recovery up over 3.3%. We've talked about this before. Very nice lower high and lower low patterns for Square, and we're now starting to see a bit of a push back up on the day, of course, and getting that nice reversal on the RSI and the MACD as well. Very similar to PayPal. They both kind of followed a very similar trend, a very similar trajectory at the moment. So that lower high is going to be next. This right here is going to be that resistance level to watch. All the way, of course, up to $83, $89. That's going to be a potential target. We might end up looking at some swing trading ideas on Square as well, considering how much momentum it has had in the past, and of course the potential for getting back up to those resistance and target levels as well. So those are going to be some levels to watch. Talking about Meta on the day, pushing up to new 52-week highs at $253. And we're slowly and steadily kind of filling in this gap. And man, just how quickly the sentiment changes. It's crazy. It's wild. But yeah, it kind of gapped up after the earnings, pulled right back down, and then pushed right back up to getting back up to $253, $254 per share. So pretty much back where it was, last year, in the middle of last year, before the earnings debacle and everything that happened. And Meta here absolutely crushing it, and it's on the year. It's up a little bit over 100% now, 102% year to date. One of the best performing stocks of 2023. So no complaints. And this right here is going to be that gap to fill in, and valuation's gotten a little bit more to the high side. And we talked about it back in October, and this is like a no-brainer buy, and it's trading at the cheapest valuation it's ever traded at. But now I can't make the same argument. It is trading at a high valuation, so be cautious here. Of course, especially if you're buying at these levels. My plan would be to sell some covered calls again at these prices. Talking a little bit about Netflix here, and Netflix on the day was also down a little bit over 64 basis points. So we talked about this resistance in one of my other videos, $379, $380. That's a pretty big resistance for Netflix. We're starting to see a bit of a pullback, and support level is going to stay put at $348 per share for Netflix moving forward. Finally, we got Google here, continues to move up another 2%, getting a huge breakout past $123, $124. RSI is incredibly overbought, almost at 80 right now, and now Google's up over 40% as well. MACD is absolutely overbought as well. And the next target, the next resistance for Google is going to be sitting all the way up here at 131, 132. So that right there would be the next level to watch. We'll go ahead and turn this level into a new support for Google. So that's going to be the support. Resistance going to stay put at 133, and that's where we are. Overbought RSI and MACD. Just be careful with here on Google. My plan would be to sell covered calls, as you guys already know. For Microsoft, we are also pushing higher. Just incredible how the sentiment's so strong for Microsoft and for a lot of these companies, and it's up 32% year to date. Next resistance is going to be all the way up to 344, 345, so that's really where the next target is, and I believe that's the all-time high for, Microsoft. And support level is going to stay for roughly around $311, $312 for this company. And last but not least, we got Shopify, and Shopify here pushing up over 3% on the day, so back over $62, and resistance is going to be at $75 per share. So this right here is going to be that level to watch, with the support at roughly around $54, $55 per share for this company. So overall, we are seeing a lot of momentum from the markets, but it's very narrow leadership, right? On the back of just a handful of companies, and I would say that Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and even Advanced Micro Devices, those are the four that are now starting to trade a little bit of an overbought level, right? The conditions, the technicals are a bit more on the overbought side, and then not to mention Microsoft and NVIDIA, more like valuations a little bit on the high side as well, not to mention Apple, even valuations a bit on the high side. Meta, I can't make the case for overvalued or undervalued. I would say it's like, about right. And then for PayPal, obviously I can make a case for it being a bit more on the undervalued side. So it's not really the entire tech, is overbought or overvalued, but it's just like case by case. We have to understand what's really going on with the market. And right now, other sectors are definitely lagging behind a little bit. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video and find it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Link to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below. Again, if you want to join, there's only 4 spots left for the Investor Early Bird with that 16% annual discount available till the end of this month. You'll get access to all the trade ideas, trade alerts, the private live streams, everything included As always, happy investing, and I'll see you all in the next video.